All right, let's talk about personal branding. We are going to build a complete playbook, step by step, to take you from wherever you are right now to a place where you truly stand out. And this isn't just some high-level theory. This is a set of real, actionable frameworks built for creatives, for marketers, and really for anyone who just feels like they have something unique to share with the world.
But first, let's get one thing straight. This path, it's messy. Building a strong brand means making mistakes, wasting a little bit of money, and picking up some bad habits along the way. I know I have. The key isn't to somehow avoid all the missteps. That's impossible. The real key is learning from them. That's where the real expertise comes from, and that's the wisdom we're going to get into today.
So, here's our game plan. First, we're going to cover why a personal brand isn't just a nice-to-have anymore. Then, we'll figure out what level you're at right now. After that, we are going to absolutely bust the myth of competition, give you a practical toolkit for creating content, show you how to turn that brand into a business, and finally, we'll talk about the secret weapon, the 5-year superpower. Okay, let's kick things off with the big question. Why does any of this even matter right now? Well, it's because the entire landscape of what we even call a career has totally changed. And guess what? Your personal brand is right at the center of it.
You've probably heard people say personal brands are dead, right? But that's just a huge misunderstanding. What's actually changing is this idea that every single person needs to be a full-time influencer. The real truth is, promoting yourself is now a permanent skill. Think about it. In a world with remote work and AI scanning resumes, your personal brand is more than just a profile. It's your compass.
Just look at how things have shifted. The old way was you had your job and maybe you had a side hustle. But the modern path, it integrates everything. Your brand becomes the central hub for your income. Networks start paying you, affiliates pay you, and most importantly, a strong personal brand builds your professional value. That means companies will pay a premium for you and what you know.
I know a lot of people feel like the market is just too saturated to even try, but we need to flip that idea on its head. Yeah, there's more content than ever, but that has caused something called the flattening of content. Basically, algorithms have gotten insanely good at finding very specific audiences for very niche interests. So the big opportunity isn't to be huge, it's that you don't need 1 million followers. You can literally achieve all your career goals by talking to a small, dedicated niche of just a few thousand people.
So, with all that in mind, where do you actually stand right now? This next part is all about helping you find your level, understand where you are, and see the path forward. We all start at level 0. We'll call it the baseline. Here's the thing, whether you're trying to or not, if you are online, you have a personal brand. It's that simple. It's the perception other people have of you when you're not in the room. It's your digital footprint, the sum of all your posts, your comments, your likes, everything.
Now, level 1 is what I call the extension. And honestly, this is the sweet spot for most professionals. Your brand is an extension of your work, but it doesn't totally consume your identity. You're not trying to be a full-time creator. Instead, creating content just becomes this powerful habit for telling your story, sharing what you're working on, and showing people what makes you unique.
And this level 1 brand comes in a few different flavors. You might be the Carousel Dumper, just dropping cool visual things you find on Instagram. Or maybe you're the Documentarian on LinkedIn, posting your career milestones. You could be the Hobbyist, sharing your passion for, say, baking. Or the Casual Poster, making funny little skits. Or you could be the journeyman or journeywoman, documenting a specific goal, like I'm learning to code in 100 days.
Okay, moving up, we get to level 2, the definition. At this point, your personal brand really starts to define you. People know you for it. You might be making a little money from it, maybe getting asked to speak at things, and you're seriously thinking, maybe I could do this full time. This is often the toughest stage, because you're making that jump from it being a side project to a core part of who you are professionally.
And finally, there's level 3, larger than life. This is where your brand becomes bigger than you. You're not just participating in the conversation, you're shaping it. You're influencing trends. Think about a Seth Godin or a Gary Vaynerchuk. It's an aspirational level for sure, but what's amazing is that what used to be reserved for famous authors is now actually achievable for people who just consistently create valuable stuff online.
Now, it doesn't matter which level you're aiming for, there is one giant mental hurdle that stops almost everyone before they even start, and that is the myth of competition. We're going to talk about why your single biggest advantage is just refusing to quit. So let's just run a little thought experiment. Imagine in your specific niche, doesn't matter if you're a designer, a financial advisor, a chef, 100 people just like you decide, okay, today's the day, I'm going to start building my personal brand.
So you've got 100 people at the starting line. Of those 100, a staggering 80 of them will never even post the first thing. And this isn't because they're lazy, it's pure psychology. It's the fear of being judged, it's the paralysis of trying to figure out the perfect first post. So just by starting, literally just by posting something, you've already jumped over the single biggest hurdle.
Okay, so now we're down to 20 people. Of those 20, another half are going to quit within just a few months. Why? They hit what we call the trough of sorrow. That initial buzz wears off, their posts don't go viral, and ooh, look, there's a new shiny object to chase. They just haven't built the habit of consistency yet.
So we have 10 people left. And of those 10, life happens, right? They face a setback, their priorities change, and the daily grind of creating content without seeing a huge immediate reward it wears them down. Over a year or two, most of them will just quietly fade out. And out of our original 100 people, only 3 are left standing.
And here's the entire point of all this. You are one of those 3. That's it. If you simply make the choice to start and then you persist through that initial silence and the long, slow grind, you are in the top 3%. The competition was never about talent or luck. It's a battle against your own psychology. If you can win that battle, you have already won the game. There is no competition.
All right, so now that we have hopefully smashed that mental block into a million pieces, let's get tactical. Let's get to the how-to. Welcome to your content creation toolkit.
Standing out really boils down to making 3 key decisions. First, your format. Are you a writer? Are you a video creator, a podcaster, a designer? Second, your fit. Who exactly are you talking to? Who is your person? And third, and this is the most important one, your position. How are you going to be different from everyone else? And there are 3 really powerful ways to define that position. First, you can counterposition. If everyone in your space is super polished and perfect, you go raw and relatable. Think about how early Casey Neistat vlogs felt so real compared to slick TV travel shows. Second, you can mirror with a twist. Take a popular format but add your own unique spin. Like how Hot Ones took the classic celebrity interview and just added the genius twist of painfully spicy wings. Or third, you can find a standout demographic. Take a broad topic like finance and aim it at a very specific underserved audience, like a finance podcast made only for freelance musicians.
Okay, so once you're consistently making content that really stands out, the next question is pretty obvious. How do I make money from this? So let's dive into section 5, from brand to business. You can think of this like a ladder. There are 4 main paths, and I've ordered them from easiest to hardest. The easiest place to start is by selling your time with services. Think consulting, freelance work, coaching. The next rung up is low-ticket teaching, maybe a $50 guide or a mini course. Then you have brand deals, where companies pay to be featured in your content. And finally, the hardest path of all is creating and selling your very own products. Now, all of this sounds fantastic, I know, but it is not going to happen overnight. And that brings us to our final and maybe the most important section of all, the 5-year superpower. This is all about setting realistic expectations for the journey ahead. Almost everyone gets the timing on this stuff wrong. So let's look at this journey over a much longer horizon. In the first 30 days, your only goal is to prove to yourself, hey, I can actually do this. At 100 days, it starts to become a routine, like going to the gym. Don't even think about making your first dollar until you're a year in. After 2 years, you finally know enough to make a real strategic plan. But after 5 years of consistent effort, your brand becomes a superpower. It literally opens any door you want to walk through.
This is a long game. It's a marathon, not a sprint. But it is a game you can absolutely win just through sheer persistence. So the only real question left to ask is this. Your 5-year journey starts right now. What's the very first thing you're going to do in these first 30 days to get the ball rolling?